Welcome back to the Dive Bar, baby. We got Jonathan Casero, the doc, the South Florida man himself, in the building. Before we get into this, though, I do want to say straight out the gate, next Tuesday, July 1st, 7 p.m., be here. We got a second-year Dolphin joining the Dive Bar, baby. I ain't going to say nothing else. I'm sure when the boys come on, they're going to try to spoil it again, but next week, second-year Dolphin. All right. Jonathan Casero, he's a former trainer, athletic trainer, spent time with the Dolphins, spent time with the Texas Rangers, and now he's stationed in South Florida. Boys, let's get it.
I'm putting the helmet on as always.
The opportunity is right now. Terrific defensive play. Intercepted. From the Valoa. Off the back. Chiro on the move. Going deep. Speed race. He's got Hill. He's got Hill. The Dolphins have recaptured the lead.
The doc.
What up, fellas?
The doc in the house.
I ain't gonna lie, man. That intro always gets me, man. It gives me goosebumps. I just want to like run through a wall when I see that.
Yeah, man. Those are happier times. Happier times as a Dolphin.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where we at this year, though.
And I just want to let everybody know, the doc is the captain of the low man wins team. When he says he was going to run through the wall, he's taking the lower structure out. Nice. My boy's built like a brick.
Let's go.
A literal brick.
You better tell him, doc.
That's right, baby. Come on.
Hey, there it is. How you feeling, doc? Thanks for joining us, man. How's everything been?
I feel great, man. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. I'm excited to be here, man. You know, I'm a fan of you guys. I love, all the guests that you guys got on. So truly an honor to be here. So,
Hell yeah.
ready to chop it up with y'all boys, man.
Hey, you would have been here sooner, but Joe kept pushing you back, bro. I tried to tell him, bro. He kept pushing
Always trying
you.
to blame Joe, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. The bullets I got to dodge in this building.
Listen,
Until I run into him in the streets and he's like, "Oh yeah, we gotta get you on."
yeah, exactly.
Yo, Bobby literally texted me that day saying, "Hey, I don't think we got a guest," because I was waiting on a couple people, right? So he's like, "Hey, if we don't have a guest, we should get Doc on tonight." And I'm like, "No, we gotta save him, man. Like save him for like training camp or something, because he's an athletic trainer." And he's like, "I already asked him." And then I walk into this place called Sovereign, which is like a Poke Bowl place that we all love to go to. Sure enough, fucking Doc's in there.
Yeah,
and I'm
man.
like, "Hey, what's up, bro? You gotta come on the show." He's like, "I know, Bobby already texted me."
Yeah, man. It was already in the works. We out here.
After hearing that story, who do you think was pushing him off?
I ain't gonna throw nobody under the bus, man. I'm just happy to
hand
be
up.
here.
Hand up. I openly admitted I was.
We're all guilty.
It's all good, man. We here.
See,
So, yeah,
this is
man.
the thing about Doc. Doc's like that Puerto Rico or annexation of Puerto Rico play, and it's like you use it once and that's it. That's a special play right there. All right, I'm trying to save myself. I don't know.
So what you're saying is you don't want him back on the podcast?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I don't know.
Bro.
As soon as I
That's
started
crazy,
saying it, I'm like,
dude.
fuck me. I mean, Nick Foles can't do the special play again.
Oh man,
This is
let's
true.
get
But it's a
rolling.
one-time thing, huh?
Let's get rolling here. So Doc, you've been you were heavily involved with the Dolphins. You athletic trainer for the Dolphins. Tell us about that experience, how you got started, and how you got into the Dolphins organization, and some fun stories that while you were there.
Yeah, man. So real quick before we get into it, raise your hand if you know what an athletic trainer is.
So
All right.
smart.
I'm not
Ghost is
even
so
gonna raise
smart.
my hand. I'm letting Ghost live this show.
Yeah.
Okay. So we often get confused with personal trainers, right? But athletic trainers requires a master's degree, and you have to be a board certified healthcare professional, right?
Boom.
So there's a lot of overlap with physical therapy and athletic trainers. Okay, so we go hand in hand. We both are excel in rehab and orthopedic medicine. However, physical therapy is more clinic based, where they deal with insurance claims and everything like that. Athletic trainers work directly with athletes in sports programs such as colleges, universities, high schools, and professional teams. So whenever you see an athlete get injured on the field, those are the athletic trainers that run out and save the day, pretty much. So we specialize in on-site orthopedic evaluation, right? So if anybody gets hurt, we're the first ones on the scene. If it's a medical emergency, we have to basically support them, whether it's like a neck injury or something like that, how you saw with the Bills game. The guy had a cardiac arrest. It was the athletic trainer who saved his life before the paramedics got there. So, and then on top of that, we rehab athletes from the start of their injury, post-op, and then all the way back to full play. So that's pretty much why I got into athletic training over physical therapy. And one of my first opportunities was to work with the Dolphins in 2010. So that was kind of like a dream of mine, which was pretty dope because I was still finishing my master's. And, I applied to all 32 teams, and the Dolphins were the first ones to call me up. Troy Maurer, which is the athletic trainer one of the athletic trainers for the Dolphins. He's been there for 30 years. I can remember it like it was yesterday, man. He calls me, and he's like, "Hey, this is Troy Maurer. Just wanted to see if you were still interested in working for the Miami Dolphins." I was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
sign me up.
Say less.
Say less. Let's go." But it was so funny because I didn't even know where the Dolphins training facility was and nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? I was just like,
that was back when it was in Davie, right?
That was in Davie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot older facility. Like, when I got to work with them, I saw the treadmill. Nowadays they have like all these advanced tools where you have like the zero gravity treadmill, right? You look like you're inside of a bubble and you're weightless and you can run. Bro, they showed me the treadmill that they rehabbed Dan Marino after his Achilles tear, and it looked like a damn slingshot that you would get in, and they would lift you up on top of like an old school ass treadmill. So it's crazy to see all the stuff that was back then and see all the advances now. But yeah, so it was awesome, man. Like, it was a great opportunity. I did summer training camp, OTAs, and preseason with them in 2010. So within that small stint, I definitely learned a lot. And yeah, dude, ready to dive in, man.
That was with were you with Tony Sperano?
Yeah, Tony
Yeah.
Sperano.
Yeah.
2010. Yep.
R.I.P. But still,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Did you ever get to interact with him at all?
Yeah, I did actually. He would always ice his knees after practice.
Yeah.
He would go for a run.
Yeah.
And I would wrap him up in the training room. He would come by, wrap up his knees. And funny story actually. So 2010 squad, that was with Channing Crowder, Brandon Marshall, Vontae Davis,
Anthony Fasano.
Chad Henne?
Was he there? No. Chad Henne, Chad Pennington, Ricky Williams, Ronnie Brown, Sean Smith.
Cam Wake was there then too.
No.
Not there yet?
No, not there yet. No. I think he was there after.
Okay.
Yeah. The year after. Because I took care of the D line.
Okay.
But yeah, man. So funny story, Sperano came in to ice his knees, and Channing Crowder was the only one in the training room. He was getting rehab or whatever. It was kind of like midday. Everybody's like, chilling, eating lunch or whatever. And Channing Crowder, he does not hold anything. He's got no filter.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple weeks already, and he likes to mess around with everybody. So, like, I'm icing coach's knees, and Channing's like, hey, man, what you say your name was again? I'm John. He's like, where you from? Hialeah. How old you is? 24. I'm like, bro, why is this guy asking me a bunch of questions, bro? And then he goes to coach. He's like, hey, coach, man, I know you was fucking around with some bitch in fucking Hialeah about 24 years ago. You owe this motherfucker child support for the last 18 years, bro. Dying, bro. And like coaches gave him this death stare, like, man, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Well, Anthony, yeah.
So yeah, from then on, that was my nickname with Channing. He was like, "Oh, this bastard Sperano," because I you know, I had a fade, I was clean cut.
Suits Ferraro.
Bro, funny as hell, bro. So I don't think he knew my name the whole training camp. He was just like, "Hey, bastard Sperano, man, come here, dog." But
I mean, hey, listen, if you're getting a nickname, that's
cool.
a good look in my opinion.
Yeah.
Tony Sperano used to do the bleachers before every game. He used to like that meant because he lost a ton of weight. And he would do the bleachers like every pregame. He would go up and down the bleachers in the stadium.
Yeah, he did. No, he's a good dude. R.I.P. But yeah.
Bro, so you obviously got to interact with a lot of the players and stuff. What was the mood like when they're in the athletic training room? Because I remember like in high school and shit, like you're usually fucking around, you're usually bullshitting, or you're usually complaining about the coach. Like there's no in between. So I just wanted to see if like that kind of translated to the NFL.
Bro, it's just a bunch of kids with money, man. To be honest with you, you know, like you're in your early 20s. You know, it was kind of a shock. You know, like everybody was like chewing tobacco. And, you know, they always had the dip in their mouth, and basically they would just talk about Madden, playing each other on Madden or whatever. And I'm like, yo, this is wild, dog. Like, you know, they probably playing themselves on Madden. It's crazy. But no,
I guess we don't really think about that, but that is kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. You know, it's literally, you know, that locker room atmosphere. You can't really duplicate it. You know, if you have a really good team or whatever. You know, it's a lot of jokes cracked, and you know, people know when it's business and they need to turn it on. But behind the scenes, is really cool because, you know, you get to experience that one-on-one personal relationship with, you know, athletic trainers and athletes or whatever. Especially, you know, they trust you the most because you're in charge of their health. You know, whether they can play or not. So, yeah, it's pretty dope, man. That locker room atmosphere, I mean, it's the same thing, just, you know, higher stakes.
Makes sense. And who was your favorite guy in the locker room at the time?
Well, definitely Channing was one of them. He definitely kept it interesting for sure. Which, you know, full circle, he actually was a coach when I was in the head athletic trainer at university school. The private school that I used to work at. So he was a linebackers coach then. So, you know, it was cool kind of like seeing full circle, like, you know, 8 years removed or whatever after that. But
yeah, that's dope.
You know, I used to take care of Brandon Marshall. He used to see me before every practice, look for me to like kind of just stretch him or whatever. Vontae Davis, I was close to. He was cool. I would always tape his ankles before practice. He was funny.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. And I actually got into it with Ricky Williams.
Oh, did you? How does that happen?
Bro,
that's crazy.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm watching this dude. I'm a fan, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I've been a Dolphin fan for my whole life.
You got to tell that story.
Growing up, I grew up in Miami. So basically every Miami team, no matter if we're on a 30-year losing streak, you know what I'm saying? I'm homegrown. So
always, baby.
Yeah.
10 toes down, baby.
10 toes down. Yeah, always represent, man, Miami, baby, all day. So that's why I picked my colors, aqua and pink, you know?
Yeah, it looks sick.
Yeah, baby.
Man. So so I had done OTAs, right, before. So I was like the only intern that they will call in because I lived there. Everybody, all the other interns were coming from out of state or whatever. So they, you know, the trainers were like, "Hey, look, come through. You know, kind of like get your feet wet, kind of see what's going on with you know, the whole system or whatever, and you know, that way you can meet the guys, whatever." So I took care of the running backs during OTAs. You know, everything was cool. You know, conversation to a minimum, and when, you know, you have that little break in between OTAs and then you go into summer training camp, right? So, you know, I'm counting down the days as a, you know, rookie or whatever. I'm like, yo, this is dope, man. I'm going to training camp. So first day of camp, I roll in. You know, you got to get there early, man. It's like 5:30 in the morning. So I roll in, and the first couple people I see in the training room is Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams. And so I'm like, hey, you know, I'm all giddy. I'm awake. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready, bro. Whatever I need to do, man. Let's go. Let's get it. So I was ready to hit the ground running, and I said, what's up to him? Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, fellas? Y'all, you know, I'm trying to amp them up. Like, y'all ready for the first day of camp?
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. It's like the worst thing to say. Y'all ready?
Hey, he acted like he had Camp Calvary.
Oh man,
crazy.
this guy, fucking Rudy has entered the chat.
So I'm like, yo,
oh fuck.
you know, I realized then it was a big mistake because as soon as I said that, and I felt like I had some rapport with him already because I had seen him in OTAs. I was taking care of him. You know, the running backs were with my squad.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
so good.
bro, Ricky's foam rolling. He looks at me. He's like, "Hey, man, stop acting like a fan, bro. Shut the hell up."
Jesus
Shit.
Christ.
Straight up, I was like, "Yo, this Ricky Williams just yelling at my ass
What
right
was
now."
your what was your reaction to that?
I got mad. I was like, "Bro, like, I'm not trying to be a fan, bro. I'm just excited to be here, dog." So I told him straight up. I was like, "Listen, man, don't get it twisted. I'm here to work, but you know, I'm just excited to be here, dog. My bad, you know." And then Ronnie gives me this look like, don't listen to him, bro. You good? He's tripping.
That's crazy coming from Ricky, man. I feel like he's totally.
So
That's
that
when
was
they wouldn't let him smoke weed. That's what it was.
Yeah,
that was
That's
when
what it was.
that was when he cut his dreads, and
Yeah.
you know, he came back after that, you know, long stint when he was out. And
Yeah.
he came back. So
Was he on those ayahuasca shit? Is that what he was doing?
I don't know, man.
I forget what he was doing.
Yeah,
went
he
on
was
a
like in the
retreat or some shit.
middle of nowhere somewhere.
Mhm.
So I just know that you know, I feel bad for the dude because like I saw him like he would get tested every day.
That's
So I'm
sucks,
pretty
dude.
sure that was annoying. You know, especially you clean, you just trying to be there, fulfill your contract, whatever. So that was the first start of it, and then so my group during training camp was the D line. So, but since I had already been there longer than the other guys, the head athletic trainer put me in charge of the weight chart. Right, so I had to weigh the whole team in and out before. So back in the day, we had 2 days, right? You know, that was before the CBA agreement, whatever. And so it was like 2 hardcore practices, 3-4 hours a day. You know, each practice, it was grueling. So you know, we had to make sure that they didn't lose too much water weight in between practices, because anything over 5 pounds of water weight loss, you get severely dehydrated, right? So then you need IVs. So we would flag players. Okay, look, you know, these guys need IVs after practice or whatever. So I was in charge of that. So, you know, everybody was pretty cool. You know, I had the weight and the weight chart was inside the players' locker room. So I would literally go before practice, make sure everybody weighs in. I'm sure I was annoying to some people, but you know, hey, that was my job. I need to be on point. So everybody weighed in except guess who?
Ricky.
Right? So I'm like, I gotta go chase his ass down, whatever. You know, but by then the practice had already started. So when they came back from practice, I had to like search for him, hunt him down because nobody weighed in. Like he didn't weigh in. So I go to where he was at. He was on a Vibramax or whatever after practice, and you know, I tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, Ricky, I need you to go weigh in, please. You know, very respectful. He looks at me. He's like, hey, man, I'm a fucking vet in this bitch, man. You don't fucking tell me what to do. I'm like, God damn.
Fucking getting roasted by Ricky Williams is insane.
I'm like, bro,
dude. That's crazy.
I got mad again. I was like, yo, man, hey, this is where you wrong, my guy. The head AT put me on this, so this is my job. So guess what? I can tell you what to do. Go weigh in. And the funny thing is that the weight scale was literally right next to his locker. So, you know, we had it in a couple of days, but I think he was just hazing me because, and you know, there were a couple more incidents like during practice or whatever. Like, you know, we had to ice we, literally in between every water break, we had to ice each individual water bottle.
Yeah.
Before you give it to the player, you can't just fill it up with water. So it was crazy. So, you know, one time like he's like, hey, this one got ice in it. You know, like I'm like, God damn. So 2 weeks later, guess who I run into in the elevator? Because you know they put us all in a hotel during training camp. All the players go in the hotel. The whole staff is in the hotel. You know, to build up team camaraderie or whatever.
Yeah.
And we had night treatments too. So it was, bro. We were there from like 5:30 in the morning, and like we would leave the facility at 7 p.m. and then we would do night treatments from like 8:30 to like 10. So it was literally from 5:30 to 10 o'clock at night. You're grinding or whatever. But yeah, I run into him in the elevator one day, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. And then it's just me and him. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey man, how you doing? How was your day?" what's up? Thought we had beef, bro. Nah, we good, man. I'm chilling.
That's crazy.
So then after that, you know, like we chilled or whatever. But
yeah,
I guess he had to haze the rookie or whatever. But
he probably respected you for saying that stuff, even though he came at you pretty hot. But he probably respected you for saying all that and like doing your job and stepping up, especially being a young kid and all that.
Yeah, no, definitely got respect over there. Because I was, you know, he'd like, shoot, over there, man, you got to grind too, just as hard as everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and athletic training is actually one of the most thankless jobs because, like, you literally behind the scenes, you're there before the players, you're there after the players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and like, you know, you're on a timeline with especially these big name guys trying to get them out, trying to get them back on the field. So it's you know, it's a lot to consider, man. But I love this job. You know, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It was a cool experience.
And now you're in your own office. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that.
Crazy,
You want to tell everybody a little bit about that? How you got your own office? Where your office is at? Give us a little background on that.
Absolutely. So I'm inside of the gym called Perform.
Never heard of it. Is it a good gym?
They're all right. It's a sports specific training facility. We're in a 12,000 square foot facility. We got 40 square feet of turf. We got about like 18 racks off freeway. We got, you know,
careful, you're getting ghost excited.
Yeah, here's my little office. Here's my little trophy section. I got a little when I left my last day of work, I got the whole team to sign that.
Even Ricky?
Wow. Ricky and me squashed the beef. And then this a ball that Zay signed for me after we went to Indy. And the basketball signed by one of my NBA guys. Went to national championship with him in high school. But yeah, this is my little.
What was that, Vern?
Vern, yeah.
Yep.
Which I'm rehabbing him for the ACL. But yeah, we out here. This is the whole facility. So I'm literally right in the middle, man. So anybody can come up.
I'm gonna make sure you get your commission. I'm gonna tell Nick. Don't worry.
Yeah, right. But yeah, man, funny story. So I started out actually going to NFL and NBA athletes' houses. So fast forward, I did my time with the Dolphins. Then the year later, they asked me to come back actually, but I wanted to try something new. So I got a chance to work with the Texas Rangers. I was the assistant athletic trainer for the Dominican Summer League. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you don't know this, you have Major League Baseball, but Major League, you know, baseball is broken up into a whole bunch of different divisions. You have AAA, AA, Single A, and then you have the Dominican Summer League, which is where all the professional teams get their Latin prospects, right? So that's where you get all the Dominicans, Venezuelans, you know, Puerto Ricans from those leagues. So every professional organization has a facility over there. So I was the assistant athletic trainer for them as soon as I graduated. And from there, I landed into, after I finished that, I came here, started working for a PT clinic, and the PT clinic had um, a contract with a semi-pro soccer team. So I was the assistant athletic trainer for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers for a couple years, and then I
Rest
was
in peace. What a team.
I know, right? Now it's in Miami, so
Yeah, that's dope.
I would have been working with Messi, which I met, by the way, 1 year.
Legend.
Yeah, he's dope. But yeah, so I did that, and then I got a chance to work for this private school called University School. I was there for 10 years, and we were literally, it was lightning in a bottle. Really, we had so many 4 or 5 star athletes from football, basketball,
Yeah,
soccer.
this school is stacked.
It was crazy. So the head coach, who's at St. Thomas right now, used to be the head coach at University School. So that's how we got, all these 4 or 5 star recruits. Mike White was there. Zay Flowers is a product of University School. Kenny McIntosh, Brian Burns. You got Nick
No, this school
Bonito.
was stacked, Bobby.
That's a
Nick
crazy
Bonito.
roster.
Stacked.
But Bonito was here earlier today working out. Came to
And
the
the basketball player he was talking about was Vernon Carey Jr.
So Vernon Carey Jr., yeah, he's basketball. We had both of Jawan Howard's kids was at our school. So we were back-to-back high school state champions there. We went to the Geico Nationals, which is the top 8 schools in the country, go play in Manhattan, which was crazy.
Mhm.
So that was super dope. Who else? Zay Flowers actually was part of that basketball team, the nationally ranked basketball team. He's just a killer
Crazy
athlete.
athlete.
Yeah.
Crazy athlete.
I've seen the
Terrible
highlights on that.
cornhole player, but a great athlete.
Yeah, that's my dog, though. I've been taking care of Zay since he was in 8th grade. It's crazy. So it's crazy how I was able to see him kind of develop to now. So, I still take care of him on the side. But yeah, getting back to how I started this, we had such crazy talent, and they would eventually go play college, and then from college they would play in the pros, and then they would come back to
So
say,
you've been recruiting. You've been recruiting since high school.
yeah. So they would come back to see me because they, and believe it or not, they tell me yo, man, honestly, bro, the trainer at my school and my college is crap. They don't care or whatever, so I don't get enough time with them. Or when in the pros in the off season, they need somewhere to go, so they would hit me up. I would go to their crib, and I also need to give a big shout out to Stan Remy. He is a NBA basketball trainer, one of the best in South Florida, and he actually gave me a big opportunity. He was actually one of my
Stan Remy?
Stan Remy, yep.
Yep.
He was actually one of my first clients that I would do house calls to. And then he would shoot me a lot of NBA players,
That dude's got a roster.
Yeah. Andre Drummond, Norris Cole,
Brandon Knight back in the day.
Brandon Knight. I would take care. I would do house calls up with Brandon Knight. And
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man. It got to the point where I started getting busier, and my girl kept telling me, "Hey, look, you really need to start your own job, your own business." And I'm like, nah, I'm comfortable, this and that. And she definitely pushed me. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. So I named my business after my nickname. I got my nickname the first year that I worked at U School. Coach Harriet gave me my nickname, Doc, and I turned it into Detail Orthopedic Care. So DOC, come for all sports medicine, anything you need from head to toe, and it's a one-stop shop. Is what I say. So yeah, man, and I linked up with Perform because Perform and I we grew together per se because I was taking care of I was rehabbing all the athletes, and they were training all the athletes, all the high school and college guys. So we developed a rapport, early on. And when they were in a 2,000 square foot facility, they were moving into a 4,000 square foot facility. And that's when they had an office space opening. And that's what I approached them. I was like, hey man, I'd love to make something happen. Let's collab. I'd love to rent some space. and you know, they saw the vision, and they gave me the opportunity, and you know,
The rest is history, baby.
Yeah, that's right, baby. So we out here.
Hey,
we're in a 12,000
But
square feet
speaking,
facility.
but speaking of perform, I got a question for you. I know you work on New, right?
Newt.
Yeah, Janu.
Oh, Janu. Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, how's he been feeling this offseason?
Well, I mean, you know, he's trying to get a new contract, man. Hopefully, you know, I mean, he wants to stay in Miami.
Yeah.
No, that's everybody's been saying it. Like everybody.
He said it himself.
Like
Yeah.
this guy wants to stay in Miami. He wants to retire here. He loves it
Yeah,
here.
man.
His family,
He's got his family down here. You know, like who's gonna want to play for New York Jets?
But how's his body been, bro? Everything's been good with him.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's good. He's just training, trying, you know, staying healthy. He had you know, a record year last year for the Dolphins, and you know, I feel like the Dolphins need to pay him back.
It is crazy though, because we've seen the Dolphins like we're paying out all these contracts the last 3 years to guys who had, you know, one good season, and you know, it's justified in some cases, but sometimes those contracts haven't worked out from 2022, 2023, 2024, and now they're being conservative with players who should be getting contracts like Sealer, Janu, and those guys who should be getting these contracts, who want to be here, and it's just like, oh god damn it! Like as a fan, you're like, never doing the obvious thing. Like there's obvious things that anybody would do, whether you're a GM of, you know, a gas station or GM of a football team. It's like there's an obvious thing to do and there's not an obvious thing to do. I feel like they just never do the obvious thing.
I don't know, man. You know, like I feel like if this year is riding a lot on the coach, the GM, and really like all the players. Like if you know, we don't win a playoff game, which that's our, you know, that's the goal we're striving to. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't even thinking about AFC East right now. You know, like or the AFC Championship. You know, just win one playoff game. You know, we can kind of have some hope. But like, you know, like I don't know. I have zero expectations this year. Like I'm really bummed from the product that they put out last year, and you know, I get it. A lot of injuries. Tyreek wasn't healthy. You know, the line was injured, and so hopefully, you know, we've made some type of moves to be able to like build that up. I know they definitely heavy on that D line this year. So I mean, hopefully our draft picks kind of pan out, and we get some good free agents this year for corner. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know who.
There's one
out there.
There was one guy in backstage that you were talking about that you worked with when you were with the Dolphins. It was Richie Incognito. We were talking about Richie for a bit.
Richie,
you got to ask. Anytime anyone's worked with Richie, especially as a Dolphins fan who went through all that, you got to ask, like, how was it in the building with Richie?
Listen, all right. So I mean, you know, like, what was the guy that made all that stink?
Jonathan Martin.
Yeah. So I feel like he made up all that stuff.
It came out. He did. It came out.
Yeah.
It was bullshit,
bro. Richie Incognito was the nicest guy. Like I worked directly with him. I even would mess with him. I'm 5'4". You know what I'm saying? Messing with this huge giant. I used to call him Mr. Incredible.
Yeah.
Because he looks like Mr. Incredible. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And
he does actually.
Yeah, he kind of does.
He would just like, you know, laugh about it or whatever and crack jokes with everybody. You know, I didn't see any bullying. You know, Channing Crowder was in that organization too. I mean, obviously, like, you know, you crack jokes, but you just gotta have thick skin, man. You know, that's kind of like where, you know, the you know, like that's the culture. You know what I'm saying? You got to be tough. So, you know, Richie's my guy. I support Richie.
You brought up injuries
I think
there.
It's fair to. Oh, sorry, but go ahead.
You good, bro? You brought up injuries a little bit. I've always wanted. I think everybody's always wanted a big topic on Dolphins land is like everybody we got all these injuries every year, and everybody's like, oh, training staff sucks. Like,
yeah.
Look, you've been in this industry and you know players and the athletes, especially in South Florida and like that environment. How much blame or credit does a training staff really have in a building? Like how much blame is truly on a training staff with an injury report throughout a season?
So that's a loaded question. I'm not.
It is.
Definitely.
I'm never gonna throw my athletic trainers under the bus. And honestly, like I've worked with all of them. You know, I still So there's two guys that I've worked with that are still on the staff, and they're amazing. They're one of the hardest workers you've ever, could meet. You know what I'm saying? But it's the field of battle, man. It's a high risk injury sport. You can't control it. When you draft or not draft, but when you bring guys in that are injury prone already or have a history of injuries, you know what I'm saying? Like you're kind of like going uphill. It's an uphill battle because you have the chance of, risking another injury, especially in that same area. So, but the athletic training staff, they work hard, man. They plan, and they do the best they can day in, day out. Like I said, they're the first ones in, last ones out. So I feel like it has to do with nutrition, training, you know, and conserving, your body through a long physical sport. So it has a lot to do with it. It can't just be one thing. It could be nutrition too. Some athletes might not like to eat, like what they're supposed to, or sleep. Probably hanging out late night at Tootsie's before a game.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Get some wings, baby.
So, you could do that when you're 22, but when you're like 28, 29, 30, like that, those are the players that I see most of the time in the off season taking care of their body because they get it. Longevity is key, right? So they need to come here and take care of their bodies and get right in the off season. You know what I'm saying? You can't just, do whatever you want in the off season and not prepare for the season. So, it's we've been also cursed. It could be that we're, the stadium is on Indian burial ground. So
Yes.
I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, at this point, it's like there's nothing else.
It's got to be. I mean, Chris Greer would never bring in injured players. Like, he would never pay.
No, ever.
He would never pay or draft injured players. So, like, that's obviously out the window. He's never done that.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Ricky Williams, right? Ricky Williams always had hip issues when he was with the Saints. When he came down to Miami, I worked firsthand with the director of rehab with the Dolphins, and he was telling me, kind of breaking down his case, and he actually had some. They had to put him on a hip program to strengthen it and make sure that he didn't have any kind of like hip imbalances and stuff like that. So I learned, and then once they corrected his hip, he ran for like almost 2,000 yards the next year. So there's a perfect example of, really analyzing what the athlete is missing and how to correct that. And you do that, but like you can't control Jalen Phillips, getting, friendly fire.
Jordan Poyer.
You know what I'm saying? Which I think he was a sleeper cell, to be honest.
Not so friendly. Not so friendly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sleeper
got taken out by friendly fire. You can't control that.
Yeah. Jalen Phillips had a hell of a bad luck run. It's like, and it couldn't have happened to a better person either. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Being an athletic trainer and, just even going from like, recovery after practice, recovery after those long days, everyone's got their thing and everyone has a reason for their thing. Any certain modalities that you favor over others? Everyone's got their pick.
So I am anti cryotherapy. So basically, I mean, it's good if you want kind of like a placebo effect, right? But it doesn't help prevent or take care of inflammation, right? So I'm a big proponent. Even the guy that said that coined the term rest, ice, compression, elevation. He took out ice from it, right? Because new research shows you actually want to, open the floodgates. You want vasodilation instead of vasoconstriction in order to be able to have new white blood cells go in and kind of establish an anti-inflammatory reaction, right? So I'm a big proponent of Normatec, right? If you suffered a recent injury, compression and elevation is your best friend, right? And then movement. You have to move it as soon as possible. And, back in the day, you would sprain your ankle and then, okay, just stay off of it for 2 weeks and don't move it, right? That's the worst example that, or that, and that's usually what doctors tell you when you go see them, like, oh yeah, here's some Advil, and don't do anything for 2 weeks. You can't tell an athlete that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? So, and then drugs, like ibuprofen, stuff like that, it's just gonna, damage the liver, right? So, compression, elevation, movement right away. Normatec is really helps. They got one for the legs, they got one for the hips, for the arms, shoulders, and that helps kind of like compress, release, and it creates a kind of like pumping effect, and it helps release lymphatic drainage, and your lymphatic system is the one that helps eliminate inflammation. So, and then in our clinic we use a lot of instrument assisted tools, which is called, like everybody knows, grafting or scraping. Just those crazy metal tools that look like torture devices.
Jarabi loves that.
Oh yeah, so we use that here. Cupping is another great modality. So the instrument assisted tools, that's kind of like a compressive therapy. Cupping is a decompressive therapy. Both kind of have similar physiological effects. The main thing is it's open, it's increasing tissue temperature, opening up the blood vessels, and providing an environment for white blood cells to come in and create an anti-inflammatory reaction. So it's very effective. And we also do dry needling here. So I love dry needling. Not to be confused with acupuncture, right? Acupuncture is more Eastern medicine. Dry needling is more Western medicine, where athletic trainers, physical therapists, and chiropractors are able to do it. They're certified in it. And essentially, it's, you guys heard of a PRP injection, right? It's platelet, blood-rich solution that you're injecting into like your knee for tendonitis, stuff like that. Well, it's kind of similar to that, where the needle will stick the needle wherever you have inflammations, right? So if you have tendonitis or elbow, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, rotator cuff tendonitis, we'll apply the needles directly onto that inflamed tendon, ligament, or muscle strain, and that will actually help create local blood flow, right, established by the needle going in, and we attach electrodes to it, and that helps kind of magnify the needle's effect as well. So all those are big proponents that I definitely use and am comfortable with, and see a lot of great effects from that, right? So that's kind of what makes us unique from other clinics, in South Florida.
And that was the cold to heat. That was like what was his name? Was it Mike Reinold from the Boston Red Sox? He was the head athletic trainer there. He changed the entire MLB with like John Lester. He went from ice in the shoulder to heat on the shoulder, and now it's like you never see ice on the shoulder anymore.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because especially, like right away, like vasoconstriction, ice really just numbs the area, and it makes you feel good because it's numb. But then once you thaw out, the pain comes back.
I like to do it because it makes me feel good.
Well, there you go. You do that for that.
Is there going to be a pop quiz after this? Because I feel like I'm learning a lot.
Leave the ice for your drinks, fellas.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, that's all I'm going to remember anyways.
So you're not a big fan of like cold plunges or any of that?
So there is a time and place for it, right? If you just sprained your ankle, am I going to tell you to put an ice bucket on it? No. Compression, elevation. But like for mental effects, like it does kind of like help you reset in the morning, and people love it. I could tell somebody, hey, ice baths don't really work. Some people look at me crazy, like, well, I've been icing for like 20 years. I'm not gonna stop. So, with anybody that loves cryotherapy or ice baths, stuff like that, hey, by all means, do it. If it makes you feel good, right? Because sometimes, if you believe that something works, that's called the placebo effect, and the mind is a powerful thing. So I'm not going to tell anybody no, but my preference, I don't really use it here.
Yeah, that's why I smoke weed.
Yeah, that helps too.
It's not a placebo effect, I promise.
Definitely not a placebo.
We'll cut that part out later.
Oh wait, smoking weed's illegal now? What are we doing here? Throw up. Half our chat is high right now.
Probably.
Nice. So, yeah, man.
We had a
Hey,
question.
what about
We
the
had a,
sauna? Is
sorry.
the sauna a good daily thing?
You just got to make sure that you don't dehydrate. You know, keep a time limit.
Well, with the amount of energy drinks that I drink, I'm always dehydrated. So just bring it on. Fuck it.
Send it.
The good thing about people like Joe is that keeps you in business. You know what I mean?
Bro, it's crazy. So I got the pleasure of having Doc work on me a little bit when I was golfing a lot, and I had my elbows torn up, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, Buddy had me in tears on his table scraping, bro. And he's like, and he don't. And one thing about Doc is he's about his business. He doesn't give a shit if you got tears in your eyes. He's fucking wow.
It's all right. You'll thank me later.
Yeah, but honestly, 2 days later, elbow felt like new. I swear to God, it was unbelievable.
I didn't pay him to say that, guys.
No, but it was unbelievable. And that flossing too.
Yep. Oh, BFR, yeah, BFR is great. Great ticket. Sorry, I'm plugging my computer in because we're running out over here.
That's all right. We always have
I was getting jealous of your backdrop, anyways.
we always have technical.
Sorry, I got another
anyway.
backdrop right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So yeah,
Ghost, you want to do that question from the chat?
Oh yeah, we had a question just about your degree. Somebody was asking, probably a dumb question, or I might have missed it. What is the technical name of your degree? And he wants to look into it.
So athletic training, master's in athletic training. So you need to do a 4-year undergraduate degree, typically in some type of science background. I did mine in health science from FIU. Shout out to FIU, baby. And then I got my master's in athletic training as well. So basically any type of science related health degree, you know, for bachelor's, just to get your prereqs in. And yeah, you need your master's in athletic training. It's pretty cool. And it's
so master's in athletic training or not?
Yeah.
Then you pass your
I just want
boards.
to make sure.
Then you got to pass your boards. I said that like 3 times. So my bad.
Yeah, I'm fucking with you.
And now there's a doctorate degree too for athletic training, but I'm not gonna get it. That's if you want to teach, but you know, I started my own business, so we good. And you know, I also have a physical therapist and chiropractor at the clinic, and there are all athletic trainers as well. So
Nice.
they're athletic trainers who got their certification and decided to go into further learning. And one has his physical therapy degree and one has his chiro. So yeah, man, we got a squad right here, man.
How much emergency medicine do you learn in physical or in athletic training, like for your master's or undergrad?
So yeah, it's definitely a course that you go through. You have to be able to spine board. Somebody, you have to be able to do, you know, you have your BLS, you know, basic life support license to be able to give CPR. They teach you basically, you know, like worst case scenario of if anybody like, you know, has a serious injury on the field, you have to be able to detect it. Like let's say somebody breaks their femur, right? It could rupture the femoral artery. So you have to make sure that you immobilize it. You have to be ready, you know, to kind of collab with the paramedics when they come onto the scene. You know, my first year working at the high school, one of our receivers goes up for a pass in the playoffs, gets knocked out in the air, mid-air, and he's just limp when he hits the ground. So I run out and I had to like stabilize his neck. You know, he was knocked out, snoring, and, you know, scary situation. But immediately you have to recognize that. You have to stabilize his neck to prevent any type of cervical injury. And then when he woke up, he had like numbness and tingling in his arms and legs. And, you know, that's a positive sign for that. So we contacted paramedics, and it just so happened that we were in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and they didn't have an ambulance on site.
Damn.
So we had to wait 30 minutes for an ambulance to get there. So I was stabilizing his cervical neck for 30 minutes on my knees in the middle of the field until paramedics got there, and then fire rescue was there. So luckily, you know, he came out fine. He was just very concussed. But luckily, no cervical issue or anything like that. But yeah, in that case, man, like you gotta be ready for the worst case scenario. You know, I've had a femoral fracture as well. You know, a kid looked like he had 2 knees, man. It was crazy. But you know, we make sure that you're prepared for the worst. It was pretty dope.
AJ said he's got to hit you up soon for that injury prevention program again.
I got you, my guy. Come through whenever.
AJ, the homie.
AJ's
Yeah,
the boy.
Hey, it's been a minute since I've seen you in here, though, boy. I've been watching.
Yeah,
AJ.
right.
Is that AJ from
Yeah.
Hialeah?
Yeah.
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 my guy.
Dude,
Yeah,
I did
he did.
jiu-jitsu with him over at Gracie's.
Dude, he just rode off in the sunset one day and never looked back, boy.
He's an OG. I took care of him back in the day when I first started my clinic.
He's the man.
So the Back It Up Binge podcast wanted to ask you this when we announced on Twitter earlier. He wanted to know what your thoughts is on the increase of, like, there's always a hamstring injury. Tommy John, even for baseball, has really picked up. And then the Achilles injury in NBA right now even is just really going rampant. So, like, what do you think is kind of going on there?
So we had Achilles from basketball, Tommy John for baseball. And what else? What was the third one?
The hamstring, that soft tissue, football.
Man, honestly, it's training. Probably overtraining, to be honest. For basketball, I know it's a long season, man. You know, guys pro athletes in their mid-20s should not be tearing their Achilles. Well, I mean, Halliburton case, he had a calf strain, and he probably shouldn't have been out there. But it's Game 7 of the finals. Like, you're gonna tell him no? You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably knows that risk, and he's gonna be like it's probably gonna kill him if he never went out.
He was hooping when before he went out. He was hooping.
Right. So you're not gonna tell that guy no. Like, this is literally his dream. You know, like, you deal with the consequences. For hamstring injuries in football, you know, we see it a lot. It's just that they're so, you know, you're running at top speeds. Sometimes the hamstrings aren't ready for that. You know, you really have to program accordingly to make sure that you're able to withstand those demands, you know, at a specific point. So it's all about injury prevention. Make sure that you take care of what you need to take care of. Hydration is key. Sleep, nutrition, all that stuff comes into play. And with baseball, UCL sprains, you know, it starts as a little kid. Like, you have to really see, like, people only see like pro athletes, right? And you think, well, you know, they've been playing for a little while, right? Well, it starts when you're a little kid. How long have you been playing? Since 5 years old? And, you know, so you're 25. You've been playing for 20 years already, right? That's like wear and tear. Like, I see it all the time with kids. Like, in every sport, it doesn't stop. There is no off season anymore. Soccer, you have,
Especially South Florida.
South Florida is crazy. Like, it's nuts. Like, you have to really pick what team you want to play for, you know, because sometimes seasons overlap. You have your high school soccer season, but then, you know, I have guys that they're in high school soccer and they're playing the 1 or 2 games with them, and then they have the travel ball and they play. So they're playing like 4 games in 1 week. Like, dude, that's insane. You know, at 15, 16, yeah, your body could probably hack it, but like at 20, you know, your body starts breaking down. So this is most likely to just overtraining, really, in every aspect. You know, you see it in every sport.
I just looked it up from in the NFL alone in 1997 to 2002, there was about 5 Achilles tears a year. Then 2009 to 2016, it went up to 13 to 16 a year. And from 2021 to 2024, it's now to 17 to 22. So 5 a year on average in 1997.
It's definitely a trend.
To today is 17 to 22 per year.
It's crazy.
Dude, it's insane.
I
like,
think
it
guys
just
are
keeps,
also getting bigger, faster, stronger, right?
Yeah.
it's got to be some of it too.
It has a lot to do with it. I mean, you got D linemen outrunning running backs now. Like, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
For
Shout
football,
out Kenneth
also,
Grant, baby. What's up?
let's go, boy.
G spot.
for football, also I feel like the turf has a lot to do with it. Like I feel like people need to play on grass.
Yeah.
You know, you see like a professional soccer team. I forgot what podcast I was watching recently, and like you see these professional soccer teams from around the world. They come to play here, right? And even in the Jet Stadium, they took off the turf and they're put on grass just for that pro soccer team
Yeah.
Oh,
to
wow.
go play in. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not playing on turf.
I did see that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like if you could do it for a professional soccer team, you know what I'm saying? Like why wouldn't you do it for your $1 billion organization for football? So
Ain't nobody trying to take a chance on that MetLife turf, boy.
MetLife has
Nope.
got a bad rap right now.
MetLife
Dude.
got some bodies, bro. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Our
Jesus, dude.
skeletons are under the field. Theirs are just laying on the field.
Just on top,
Facts.
dude.
It's right there, like right here, 25-yard line. That's crazy.
And you know, Aaron Rodgers will tell you, bro. They don't discriminate. They own team.
Yeah, they have a ton of injuries in MetLife, especially the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. So, you know, definitely the turf has a lot to do with it.
Bro, before we let you go, I wanted to ask, we were talking about hips earlier. I know Nick was training Tua for a couple of years. Were you ever able to work with Tua?
Yeah, I worked with Tua for a little bit. I took care of his hamstring. Really cool dude. You know, he had a little hamstring issue. It's funny because, you know, we did a little bit of soft tissue in the clinic, and then I took him out for some exercises, and I gave him this one Bosu ball exercise, and, you know, like for balance, but like also like single leg strengthening and stuff like that. And the dude slips and my heart drops. I was like, oh my God, I just injured
Oh,
the starting quarterback. Like, he was messing with me. Like he saw himself.
Oh, he was fucking with you.
He messed with me. I was like, oh my God, dude, he scared the shit out of me, dog.
Wait, did he go down like? Was he like? Oh.
No, it was the slowest fall I've ever seen, bro. I'm like, oh my God, bro. But he's a good dude, man. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet, dog. He gets a bad rap, you know, but listen, I'm giving him one more year though. He's on the clock.
That's it.
He's got another
On
year
the
to
clock,
win.
baby.
Hey, he's on the clock. I was at that Bills game last year, and my heart broke. It was literally like my birthday weekend, and
I was there, dude.
it was bad.
I left. I think I left halfway through the third. I'm like, fuck this, dude. I'm not watching Skylar Thompson throw the football.
Bro, it was bad, bro. Last year was bad. So,
That was
you
rough.
know, if he's healthy, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And it's not just him. It's the
I
whole
know.
organization is on the clock. McDaniel, Greer, Tua. I mean,
Listen,
there's a ton
I
of
love-
contracts on the clock.
I used to listen to all of McDaniel's conferences, and I was like, oh, this guy's so funny. Now I can't even watch his press conference. I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear you talk, man. I just want to see you win.
It's only funny when you're winning, dog.
Yeah,
It works
true.
when you're winning. It works when you're winning. Like, dude, you could go out there, put a fucking clown mask on. If you're 11-3,
Nobody cares.
you could
This
show
guy.
your dick at the press conference. You could say whatever you want. But
Yeah.
when you're under 500, you know, going into week 17, fighting for the possibility if 4 teams lose, you can't be making jokes at the press conference. You know, you can't do that.
No, definitely
Can't
not.
do it.
And I met McDaniel before. He's a nice dude. I met him at the combine.
I'm sure he is. He is.
But yeah, like, you know, as much as I love to see him win, like, man, like, we won't got much time, bro. And Chris Greer, man, he be making some questionable decisions.
Bro, I literally
years.
got to the point where I only watched the pressers just to spam the chat for Dive Bar.
dude, we be in there going crazy.
I'm just in there like, yo, Dive Bar show tonight, 7 p.m. Slide on.
Just log on to 3
Not even
different
listening
times.
to what coach is saying.
Like, yo, go watch the live bars.
Yeah, man. So I don't know, man. We'll see where we at. I got zero
Well,
expectations though. I'm not trying to get my heart broken. Every year I'm like,
I
playoffs,
love
baby.
getting my heart broken. I'm built for this shit.
Right?
We've all said like the same thing. Like, look, it's just zero expectations. They can't hurt us. Like, look, if they shock us and do good, awesome. If not, we expected it. But like, dude, every little OTA highlight pulls me right back in, baby. I already know by week 1 I'm gonna be like, yeah, y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready.
It gets us every time, Bob.
Yeah,
every
man.
fucking time.
And you know, I be taking care of some of the players too. And like, I'm not trying to like, I try to be as professional as I can, right? So I'm not trying to ask them all these damn questions that I know they know everything, and so it's like, I try to keep it calm, but and not act like a fan, because Ricky almost hit me upside the head with that one.
Bro,
Hey,
you
you
got
learned
some
early. You should be thanking
PTSD.
Ricky.
PTSD from Ricky Williams is insane, dude.
It's crazy. Nah, but he's a good dude. He just roughed me up a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So
Doc, what's the nastiest injury you got to deal with? Like football injury? Like what's like your least favorite?
Well, like scariest was the guy that got knocked out, and we had the spine board.
Right.
I mean, like I used to deal with a lot of stuff, bro. I mean, honestly, I don't really like, some people like hate feet or whatever. Like football players got the most stankest feet, though. I'm not gonna lie, dog.
Ugly ass feet,
So,
bunions.
so I had to tell some people, dog, they got pedicures, bro. You're a man, you can have a pedicure, it's okay. But
Well, my feet were stank when I played football, boy. Oh,
some guys wouldn't even clean their uniform, bro. They would come in fucking like they would only clean it once a week. I'm like, God damn.
especially high school.
Yeah,
Dirty boys.
I got to the point where like, cause dude, practice cleats are a whole different animal. I had practice cleats and game cleats. So like, cause in practice, like they get soaking wet, then you're running in them again tomorrow. Like, dude, it's like,
or 2-a-days when you had to put them back on and they're still wet.
Yeah, them practice cleats. God bless them, man.
Bro, you just gotta throw them out at the end of the season, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would always I'd take my game cleats and turn them into practice cleats the next year. Game cleats turn into practice cleats. Game cleats,
Yep. But yeah, as far as nastiest injuries, I mean, I've seen it all, man. Like I used to cover a Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournament every year, and it would be just a bunch of black belts from all over the world coming to compete in their gi, right? And it would be me and like 2 other athletic trainers for like 10 rings inside of a auditorium, like International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, IBJJ.
Ghost is very familiar.
Fucking love jiu-jitsu, dude.
Bro, I actually had a couple like elbow dislocations. I had to pop back in.
Oh yeah.
Like dude was like arm was like coming out, and he's just like, "Oh, put it back in." I'm like, "All right, take a deep breath." And then he's like, "Oh dude. Shit." I'm like, "All right, you need an X-ray. Go get an X-ray." The one craziest thing, I saw a bicep tear, right? And it rolled all the way up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm evaluating him, and he doesn't speak, English that well. He's like Brazilian. He's Brazilian. So I'm like, oh, like I noticed a scar. So I was like, oh, you got a scar there. Did you have surgery there before? He's like, old stab wound. I'm like,
oh shit.
Christ. These guys are
These
nuts.
dudes are different,
bro. Nuts. I had a 60-year-old black belt. Dude for sure had broken ribs, and they called me over. He could barely breathe, and I'm like, yo, like I'm palpating him, and I could feel it. I'm like, yo, you're done. Like, like you can't fight anymore. He's like, no, I have to keep fighting. I'm like, okay, you can puncture your lung. Like, what are you doing? No, I have to keep fighting. I'm like, listen, man. I told the ref, I'm like, look, he's got broken ribs. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, so he decided to keep playing or keep fighting. The dude literally like slammed him down and literally laid on top of him, and the guy couldn't breathe, and then he had to tap out. I'm like, bro, like, did you really have to do that? Like,
he went out with honor.
Brother.
Went out with honor.
Yeah.
The duality of man.
Yeah, dude. At those jiu-jitsu like competitions, like you're looking to break something. Like there's
100%.
like when you're training, it's like, you slowly apply. Like, when you're God and tap a competition, you are trying to break them in rip submissions.
Yeah, I did MMA for 2 years, so I know. Like,
nice.
Yeah, I did Taekwondo for 10 years, so I'm a second-degree black belt in that. And then I did judo, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. So I did a little bit of everything. So I definitely knew what it is, but Man, those guys are built different though. It's funny because they don't want to tap out, and that's why they get elbow dislocations. And I'm like,
No, competitions. If you don't tap, like you're gonna get hurt,
it's wild.
and you don't want it. Yeah, you don't want to tap either. It's a paradox.
Yeah. So,
Judo's fucking sick though. Judo. If I could be a black belt at anything, it'd be judo.
Judo was dope. I actually did I learned how to do the samurai sword. They had a class at FIU. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm signing up for that shit. I can get credits for this.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Nah, judo's the shit, man. Like if there was,
yeah, pretty dope. But yeah, man, I've pretty much seen it all. So I'm fortunate to have done a lot and experienced a lot in all aspects everywhere I've gone. So I was able to apply all that and just kind of like bring it here. So it's cool, and I love what I do. So
Hey, I'm proud of you, Doc. I'm proud of you,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Self-built, man. Self-made. Come on, baby.
still going, baby. Still going, man. Going up, baby. Just building a team little by little.
just getting started, right?
Yeah, man.
Hey, and let me tell you something about Doc. Doc is always on. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Gotta
my
be.
boy is always on. He's always on go mode. My boy don't play.
Hey, got to, man. Ain't no time to be slow stepping. You gotta go.
Yeah, so we were training together during COVID because Nick's gym was shut down. So all of us used to just train like at lunchtime every day because we had nothing else to do.
Mhm.
And there'd be days where I really didn't feel like lifting, usually leg days. And Doc would walk in, let's go, boys. You ready? And I'm like, this motherfucker. All right, yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
That was the pre-workout talking, but yeah, man.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on for real, man. That was fun. I guess I will have you on again. I'll allow it.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Nah, it was a
It's gonna be,
pleasure, man. You guys are dope,
be-
man.
Be 30 months before we get you back on here, but
It's all
It's all
good.
right.
Let me know.
Yeah, we appreciate having you on, dude. That was awesome.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me again. Much love to y'all, and it's a great thing that you guys are doing too. I enjoy watching the podcast all the time. When I can. I'm always grinding. As you can see, I'm still at work.
Yeah. Well, we're back on our bullshit next week, baby.
Yes, sir.
Back on
You
that
better
dive
tune in
bar.
next week, Doc.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait. So excited, dude. It's been because it goes through. Players go through like ebbs and flows, just like us. We get hot, then we cool down because the players are all doing something. They're all busy. They're all getting ready for the season. Then there's a break during the season. Have like 4 more players on. But it's, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get some guys now trickling in. We got
Yep.
Devin Singletary was in the house today. Nick Bonito,
Motor.
yeah. Those guys
Nicest kid I ever met in my life.
Oh yeah,
yeah, we hear that a lot.
super cool dude, man.
Bro, that is the nicest human, bro. That dude's
Yeah.
smiling like he's in Chuck E. Cheese. He's 8 years old, bro. I'm talking like huge pearly white smile, bro. Always. This dude would be lifting 600 on his back, smiling.
Yeah.
It's
Boy,
crazy.
living life. Yo, he's strong as hell, bro.
Strong as an ox, bro. It's
Longevity.
crazy to watch.
Longevity, man. Yeah, he's going into 7th year. So
Hell
every
yeah,
year,
bro.
every year, you make sure he comes by. At this point, he says like we like family. So
Hell yeah. Well, this is the part of the show where Bobby takes over and tells everybody to subscribe and like. So, Bobby, go ahead.
Hell yeah.
You handled it. This is where we say, see you next Tuesday, baby. 7 o'clock, be here. We got a Dolphin coming on next Tuesday, 7 o'clock.
Absolute dog.
Be here. Appreciate you, Doc. Hang on for a second. We'll holler at you in the back.
For sure. Much love.